Good. Good evening and welcome everybody. So today is 13 July. Bad day. I mean for Chinese 13 is really good though. It's for Westerners 13 is bad luck. For Chinese is good luck. So this evening, I would like to begin with one of the teaching of the Buddhas that he gave to Ananda. So at once, and Ananda, he's the assistant of the Buddha. So one morning he went out for alms rounds. During the Buddha's times, he went out to alms rounds. And one of the lady went to Venerable Ananda. He asked Ananda, this lady asked Ananda. And she said, my father-in-law just passed away not long ago. And when he passed away, they asked the Buddha, where is his father-in-law reborn? Where did he go? Then the Buddha told her that her father-in-law reborn in the Tusita realm. This is one of the heavenly realm. And she said that her father-in-law, especially in the later life, that he's been like living a celibate life, like keeping 8 precepts, and he's practising really very diligently. But how is it come about? How come another person in the village, this lady said, and she saw this person just live an ordinary content household life. Like he's only keeping 8 precepts. In his later life, he didn't live a celibate life. But when he passed away, then someone went to the Buddha and asked the Buddha, where did he reborn? Where did he go? And then the Buddha said that he also reborn in the Tusita realm. So then this lady said, how come? It seems like this person have a better quality than that person. But how come this person also reborn in the same place, in the heavenly realm? And actually, so talk about heavenly realm is remind me of a joke. And that's a man, he just died. And then he have to go to this judgment. So, and Saint Peter told him that, before you see God, but, I have to talk to you, because I have looked over your life. And I have to be really honest to you. Because throughout your whole life, you haven't done anything particularly good or bad. So I find that it's very difficult to make any decisions. Can you help me, Can you think of any things that you have done that particularly, really good, so that you can help me to make a decisions, because it's very difficult, because you in the whole life you just, then this newly soul, arrived soul, think for a moment. Then he said, yes, I remember. Once, he said, I remember. He said, when I was driving and I saw a group of robbers harassing a guy, and I stopped my car and I put it aside and I pulled out my bag and I went to the leader of these robbers. He went to him and he said, "You leave this guy alone. If you don't leave it alone, you have to deal with me." So then then he said, "Wow, that impressive. When did this happen?" Then he replied, "Just 3 minutes ago." So when this Ananda when this lady asked Ananda, he said, "How come? You see, it seems like someone have better quality than the other one, but they're reborn in the same place. How does this work?" He said. So actually, Ananda didn't know the answer. He also didn't know. So he said, "Okay, this is what the Buddha said." So he went back and he asked the Buddha, he said, how come, he told the Buddha what happened. Then the Buddha said, you can never judge a person. Only the Buddha himself be able to know, to judge. We can never judge a person. Like from outside, you can never judge. So the Buddha said, and then from that, the Buddha went on to give Ananda a teaching. So he said, there are 6 types of person. The first type of person, he said that he's a pleasant and a gentle person, and the person like the companion in his holy life, all the monks love him, like to be with him because he's such a nice person, very gentle and pleasant. Everybody likes him, like to live with this type of person. But he had not heard the teaching, and he had not much learning, and has no keen understanding, and have not attained temporary liberations of the mind. That means a deep meditation in the deep absorption, to attain that states of mind. That means he said that person did not haven't heard the Buddha's teaching and never practiced and meditation and put into the practice and attains that absorption. And this person, when he passed away, and he will deteriorate, he will not rise up, and he will not reborn to a good place. He go to a lower place. He said, why? It seems as such a nice man, so pleasant. Then the Buddha went on and said, there is a second type of person. The second type of person, there is this person have the same qualities, a pleasant, gentle, exactly the same qualities. But this person heard the Buddha's teaching. He has much learning, and he has this keen understanding. He has the understanding of the teaching, and he has attained this absorption. Because he meditate, he has this a deep state of mind. He put into practice. And this person, after he passed away, and he reborn in a higher realm. So he go higher. So he said, why? Because this person have the Dhamma. The Dhamma stream carry him to a better rebirth. So it seems like the same quality, isn't it? So the most important thing is not important what qualities you have. The most important thing now, isn't it? Because that person practiced. Then the Buddhas went on to say that is the third type of person. The third type of person that this person prone to anger and pride. From time to time, he has this greed rise up in his mind, and he has not learned, heard the Buddha's teaching, have not much learning, has no keen understanding of the Dhamma, and has not attained this deep state of a state of mind, is absorption. And when he passed away, then he reborn, he's deteriorated, he reborn in a lower realm. So this is the third type of person. And the fourth type of person have the same quality. He have anger, prone to anger, but because of he had heard the Buddha's teaching, and he put into practice, and he had the understanding of the Dhamma, and he have practice meditations, and he had this absorption state of mind. And when he passed away, and he reborn in a better place, in a higher place. So the Buddha said, why? Because the fourth person, because he practiced, and because of the Dhamma stream, carry him over to the next life. So we can never judge. You think that, he is an angry person, he's a terrible person. We judge them, isn't it? But you can never know. See, no one can judge. The Buddha said, only I can judge. Then the Buddha went on to say the fifth and the sixth person. The fifth and the sixth person, that the fifth person is also prone to anger and pride. From time to time, they have this verbosity rise up in his mind. That means he's a very long-winded person. And when he's and he has not heard the Buddha's teaching, and he did not has not much learning, has no keen understanding of the Dhamma, and have not attained this temporary liberation of the mind, that is absorption. And he passed away, he reborn in a lower realm. It's not a good place, it deteriorates. And the sixth person have the same qualities, but because of his have the Buddha's teaching, he heard the Buddha's teaching, and he have much knowledge of the teaching. He understand the teaching, have the keen understanding, and he also attained his practice meditation, and he's attained the deep absorption. That this person reborn in a better place. So as you can see, so what he inherited is not important, because a lot of people like to give them to give themselves an excuse. I can't practice my karma as such. It's what we have done in the past is past. That is, that is past. We can't do anything about it. It's past. The most important thing now, like Angulimala, he is a killer. I think none of you here close to him, isn't it? And he become enlightened. Because the most important thing now, because he practiced. So what will happen? So we can never judge. The reason why we judge others, because we judge ourselves, isn't it? It's come from ourselves. So what we put out is the reflection of ourselves. So we judge ourselves. We have no confidence in ourselves. We think that this practice only for those special living beings, they are special. No, I can't do it. No, not me. I'm not as good. I'm bad. So this is how, because we judge ourselves, is come from the ego, the sense of self. Who we take ourselves to be. The Buddha said, this I-making, my-making, and the tendency to the conceits, the three conceits. So how we create this sense of self. Like, for example, the body. So we take it to be me and mine. My body. This is, we create the sense of self. Then we attach to the body, the clinging on, and then body get old, that is normal. So, but we are not accepting that. It's happened. One of our supporters, she's in her late 80s, and she told me she's not accepting the fact that she grow old. She's old, like you are no longer as strong as before. She said, I hated that when my children and my grandchildren try to hold my hand as if that I'm a cripple. I'm okay, I'm fine. Like she's not accepting, that this is natural. We have this body. We were subject to sickness, old age, and death. So the body is still going to get old, as you grow old, but if that is mine, this because we have this me and mine. So the Buddha said it's good that we develop the perception of non-self. We can see that this is non-self. If there is a self, the Buddha said, we can ask the body not to grow old, isn't it? Whether we like it or not. When we grow old, a lot of things we can't do, whether we would love to do it, but we can't. And the body, the hair falling off, and the teeth also falling off. That is natural, isn't it? And also remind me of another joke. There's an old couple. And there was a young man. He went to McDonald's for lunch. And he saw there was a couple there, old couples, and two of them only order one meal. And he got an extra drinking cups. So then he saw this the husband started to cut the hamburger into half, very carefully, mindfully, exactly measure half. So half hamburger. So then he will divide the drinks, into half. Then he started to count the fries, So one for you and one for me, one for you and one for me until the last one. So he counted. Then after that, the husband started to eat, and the wife sitting there, putting the hand on the lap and just looking. And this man couldn't hold himself anymore. So he went up, he said, excuse me, can I offer you another meal? Because he just can't stand that, Then the husband said, no. We have been married for 50 years, We always 50-50, half, 50-50. So we've been doing that all these years. So no, thank you, Then he saw the wife. He said. Then he started to ask the wife, why not you? When are you going to start eating? Because your husband is started to eat. So when are you started to eat? Then the wife said, no, because it's his turn with the teeth. It's really bad jokes, isn't it? It's non-self, I was being conditioned. I've been conditioned because my teacher Ajahn Brahm he tell bad jokes, So it's not my fault, I've been conditioned by him, So we grow old and then we fight. We are not accepting, so we can grow old, gracefully. Like someone, told me that, my daughter tried to buy me something. I told her that I give you back money because I'm okay. I can earn my own living and da. I said, why not you allow your daughter to offer you something? To give them a chance, the opportunity to practice kindness and compassion. That is but because of we couldn't accept the fact that we grow old. We take this body to be me and mine. And they say it's good that we develop this perception. It's okay. It's fine it's okay to be old. And we just, we grow old gracefully. That is part of life. That is we bring with us, with a whole package. Now it's advertisement, everything, you have the whole package, So you have this body, this is what you bring with you. And then we take this body to be me and mine, we attach to this body. And then this body and mind, this body make out of these 5 aggregates. The body and the 4 aggregates, that is the feelings. And even the feelings we take the feeling as me and mine. We identify who we are. We identify ourselves, the feelings, we are angry person, we're such a terrible person. And someone recently said to me that I'm an angry person. And I try so hard. Each morning I try to tell myself, he said, to be friendly, to be calm. Then I still got upset, I still get angry. Then I told her, I said, because you think that because I said you try to own it. The anger is not belongs to you. You make it your anger. This is my anger. I am the angry person. So then I said, now you are creating another sense of self. So this self is no good, angry person. So you try to get rid of this angry person. And you create another sense of self that is kind, friendly, and calm person. So I said, the more you try to, the harder you try, the worse. And then she tried very hard to be... Then I told her that you're not accepting yourself. You are judging yourself. You're not accepting who you are. We have to begin where we at, isn't it? That is the acceptance, even towards our defilements. Because the fact that we've been born with this body and in this samsara, we have these defilements, we have great hatred and delusions. It says nothing, that is wrong. That is part of the package. Part of that. So I said, because you're not accepting who you are, you've been fighting that, I don't like this self is bad, no good. And you try to create another image that is a good one. I said, the harder you try, the worse, isn't it? Because sometimes we try not to make mistakes, we make more mistakes. It's true, I said, you become you're not relaxed. You become more tense. And then you're so afraid. She becomes so fearful that she got upset, she got angry. I said, and then because she said, I don't want to be an angry person because I read the book. The book said angry person go to hell. And I said, no. I said, you won't go to hell. I said, the Buddha said only those heavy karma, those that kill their parents, and those that kill the enlightened one, and they rape the bhikkhuni. I said, you nowhere that you can rape bhikkhuni because she's a she. So I said, you're too far from that. I said, even Angulimala can get enlightened. I said, it's all right. So I said, not to judge yourself, because if you think you're an angry person, because you try to own the anger come and go. The anger won't stay there forever. But we think that, I said, just like a very famous saying of Ajahn Brahm, he said that there is no criminal. It's only a person who commit the crime. I said, you are just a person. That moment you got upset. That moment you have anger. But you try to own the anger. You label yourself. Then we put ourselves into the prison. We sentence ourselves, to life imprisonment, that forever I'm an angry person. Just because this moment I got upset, I'm angry, so I'm an angry person. So if you think that you're an angry person, you'll be angry. Because you create that yourself. You create the image. Then you live up to your expectation to be an angry person. And then because of you try to get rid of this angry person, this identity angry, and you create another identity that is kind. So then you're not accepting yourself. And you try to get it. That is craving to be. That is the cause of the suffering, the sense of self. We want to, craving to be. And then craving not to be. And craving to be a good person, a kind person, a calm person. And then craving not to be a angry person. And you still crave. That is the cause of the suffering. That is why we add on. Actually, what we're experiencing is not important. If we're angry, greed, we experience, greed, or we experience anger, it's come and go. It's just the feelings, and either pleasant or unpleasant. So it arises, it passes away. It's not going to stay there forever. So sometimes we try to, for example, when it is unpleasant feelings, we try to make it go away. The harder we try, it stay longer. And then the pleasant feelings, we try to make it stay longer. You can't, because the feelings come and go. Is there anyone here always can happy all the time? No, isn't it? Sometimes you feel happy, and sometimes you feel, happy and happiness and suffering. So when the happiness gone, then we suffer. When the suffering gone, we feel happy. So we just live between them. But we've been pushed, swing, around, by this, we carry away when we are happy. And then we got upset when we get caught when we are not happy. That is the suffering we created for ourselves. Actually, the most unpleasant feelings is come and go, but we try to own it. So the Buddhists talk about non-self. It doesn't mean that no one there. It's just that whatever, even the body, the feelings, the experiences that we experience right now, it can't stay. It's come and go all the time. But the problem if we hold on to that, we create the sense of self. We build a home. So that is the suffering. That is not that what we're experiencing is matter. And also having defilements is not a problem. But how we relate to our defilements, that is the problem. Do we relate to our defilements with kindness and compassion? To accept who we are? Because come from our sense of self, we are not accepting ourselves. We think that we should be able to we be able to do that. We should be able to overcome the anger. Then this is how we've been, identify ourselves. We put the label on. Then we have to live up to this identity, image who we are. Then it causes us a suffering rather than accepting it, who we are. It's not that we deny, we acknowledge. And if we have done any mistakes, we forgive and we let it go. So this is when then we keep, this is accepting that, who we are, where we at. So that is then, this is how we constantly create the sense of self. The body, we take it to be mine, even the feelings, we take it to be me and mine. So we create lots of suffering for ourselves. And then this is how, through feelings, we've developed the perception, how we perceive things. Because our perception is being perverted by our likes and dislikes. So, because we are not perceiving things purely, it's being colored, it's being distorted. It's a view, how we view things. So from the perceptions, then we develop how we view things. How we view ourselves. Even we holding on to our views and opinions, isn't it? And this is how it develops. For example, this perception, when the feelings, something that we like. For example, like some people have this bad experience with dogs. When they look at dogs, so the perception of dogs is terrible. And someone had good experience with dogs, they look and say, wow, it's so lovely. But it's perception, because the perception is come from the past experience. So it's not based on that we not perceive things purely. So it's been distorted. Then we develop a way of looking at things like the conditioning. They say a lot of this conditioning, sometimes we don't even know where is this coming from. So for example, we all see things different, isn't it? Even we look at the same thing. So something that you think that is wonderful for you to another person is terrible. For example, like for Chinese, think that 13 is a good luck number, and the perceptions, like in the West, they think that it's unlucky. And this is how we started to. This is how when we have this view, and then go on to the thinking about it. When we think about it and we reaffirm our view, and this we carry over, and then we reinforce our view. For example, like for a Chinese, they believe that 13 bring them good luck. Even in Malaysia, people have to pay a lot of money to get 13. This good a lucky number. And if so happen that they have they won the lotto, and they think, wow, and they believe that the number bring them good luck, isn't it? And they reinforce their view that it's because of the number. Actually, it's nothing to do with the number. It's just because of in the previous life they have done something maybe good, And it's just that this life he's got good karma, then he's won a lottery. It's nothing to do with the number. So whether and the other person, believe that 13 is a bad luck. If someone die in the family and then they think that the number is bad luck, and because whether they got the 13 or not, we are all going to die, isn't it? It's nothing to do with the number. We will get sick, we will die. So this is how, from the feelings, perceptions, and we develop the view. And we hold on to the view. Because it's very subtle. That's why people argue, fight, we have conflicts, we have war. Because people, fight, argue all the time, And because of this is me, they make even the view is to be me and my view. I'm right. So we make other people wrong. Because I'm right, this is my view. This is come from the sense of self, the ego. And create lots of suffering and argument and lots of conflicts. And even sometimes it's funny, is even some husband and wife, they married 20, 30 years, they argue all the time. And fighting all the time. And they still endure, I remember Ajahn Brahm used to say that marriage, you have these 3 rings, engagement rings, wedding rings, and suffering. So I said, still lack of 1 ring, that is endurance. So you endure. And then sometimes this is how people keep, they think that, they keep doing the same thing, they expect to have different results. No, so you have to change. Your perceptions of looking at things relate to things. So this is how fighting and arguing. And I remember another joke about this arguing husband and wife. They married for many years, this husband and wife, they married for over 20 years. So start from the beginning when they got married, they already argue all the time. And they cursing each other, Then the husband, he's the one who know black magic, and usually the villagers, and if the dog disappear and they lost their dogs, they will go to him, and then he'll be able to find their dogs, or they lost anything, they lost their things, they will go to him, and because he know black magic, then he used to curse his wife, He said, if I die, I will come back, I will dig my way up and come back and haunt you. I will not let you, he said like that. Then after a while, and this husband, he just have a certain death, he just passed away. So after he's passed away, so the wife, buried him, had the funeral. Just immediately after his funeral, the wife started to go partying, as if there's no tomorrow, with the... and then the neighbors started to feel strange. They asked the wife, he said, aren't you not afraid, scared? Because your husband said he's coming, he's going to dig his way up, to come back and haunt you. You're not afraid. Then this wife said, who's scared? I'm not afraid. This silly old idiot man, he said, let him duck his way up. Anyway, I'm already buried him upside down. Yeah. So this is how it, and lots of this, because of we don't see things as they really are, we create a sense of self, and this why we constantly judging ourselves, judging others. We think that we can't do this, it's impossible, and we think, I have lots of defilements, and I can't do it, it's not possible. No, don't try to all the defilements. So when you have defilements, non-self, not belongs to me. This is not me, not mine. Because we're trying to own it. So because this is a gradual training. So even we, it is not going to go away immediately even we start practicing. So that is possible. Because if we constantly judging ourselves, we have lack of this confidence. So we think that it's not possible. But it's possible. Each one of us has this potential. Even someone, a killer, be able to get enlightened. A lot of people think that, the karma, what we are now experiencing now is because of the previous action that we have done. But what are we going to do with this moment is important. How we live our life is important. How we relate to this moment is important. Because this moment, if we relate to this moment with kindness, with compassion, with acceptance, with forgiveness, forgive ourselves, then we create the next moment, the future. Because it's important. Because it's just like the Buddha says, the karma that what we have done, it's just like we inherited a piece of land. For example, someone have very good situation, they have maybe good quality, in this life. It's just like the karmic inheritance. So it's just like you inherited a piece of land. Maybe it's a good land, a fertile land. But if you don't plant it a good seed, and you don't nurture the seed, you don't plant it, you don't water that, it's not going to grow. if we have, what we inherited, if not a fertile land, but if we put in fertilizer, it planted a good seed, we watered it and we nurture it, and it will grow. It's grow to a beauty. We plant in a sweet mango seed and it will grow into a big mango tree, sweet mango. We let that grow. That's why this moment is important. So not to waste our time to always, carry the guilt on what we have done, in the past. We all have done all sorts of things in the past. That is already past. Now, this moment is important. So because of we constantly judge ourselves. So if we think that you can't, you will not try, isn't it? You will not even put in effort, to put into practice, that you don't, because you think that it's impossible. It's not for me. It's only for those, special beings. So it's very important that the Buddha's teaching that if we keep reflecting on this non-self, develop the perception of non-self. When you see non-self, you see this impermanent. So things come and go, whether you like it or not. So when we see the impermanent, we become more appreciative. Appreciative of this moment. Appreciative of what we got. Because we always take it for granted. We always take it for granted. We think that, for example, we think that we always find fault. It's not good enough. So when we have this, we know that this thing is not going to last. We become more appreciative. And we make the most of it while we got it. So when we have these pleasant feelings arises, we enjoy that moment. So we don't try to interfere, we don't try to hold on to it and try to make it stay longer. So we have these unpleasant feelings. It's all fine because it's so past, it's not going to stay. So then this is how, then we see the impermanent, then we see that it's suffering. So then we understand suffering. We know that this is just part of life. No matter what we do, it's not going to be perfect. So this is part of life. So the more we can understand suffering, the more we can see where's the suffering coming from. It's not what we experiencing is a problem. It's how we relate to the experience. That is most important. That's why this is one of the ways that we develop this when we reflect on that, and it's help us to develop this perception of non-self. So when we see that it's non-self, so we don't try to own it, because the bigger the ego it is, the easier we get hurt. And we get upset easily. So when we have this loving kindness, we accept that is loving kindness. We accept who we are. We at ease and at peace who we are, and we have to start with where we at. So this loving kindness even towards our own defilements, accepting who we are. So it's fine. Because sometimes we are not accepting, we're fighting, constantly fighting. It causes more suffering for ourselves. So it is a very gradual training. All we need to do, we have to keep practicing and keep practicing. That's why, and slowly then we have to wear out the energy. It's just that, it's not going to, for example, like we experience anger. So it's not going to go away immediately. But if we not react, or we reinforce or we push it away of our emotion, so next time when there's a similar situation, it will become less intense, but it's still there. The defilement is still there, but it's become less intense. But if we keep on continue to practice, then the defilements becomes weaker and weaker, and eventually it will eliminate, disappear. It subsides. It's a gradual training. So that's why it's important that we don't judge ourselves. So if we don't judge ourselves, we have the confidence in ourselves. So it's not only a special beings, Not only those only monks and nuns only can do it. No, even you can see that from the Buddhists, even some people apparently seems like that the defilements is very gross, and they got enlightened. So never judge yourself. You never know. So they say it's important. If you don't judge yourself, you don't judge others. So when you don't judge yourself, you have a lot of confidence in yourself that is possible. So I offer this for your reflections, and may this teaching be of benefit to all of you. Thank you for listening. So any questions or comments? The first questions. How do I deal with a person who is ignorant, negative, and have bad karma? None of our business, isn't it? Sometimes we can't change. I mean, yeah, we try, we can do our best. The only thing that we can change ourselves. We can't avoid to be with people that are negative, that is ignorant, The most important thing, how we relate to that person, because we can't change others. We can only change ourselves. Just imagine if I think that, I got to change Sister Opeka, I had to change all the nuns in the monastery, I'd be very busy all the time, isn't it? So, yes, sometimes with people is ignorant, negative, and have bad karma, so we have this compassion. Compassion is not a matter of, I feel sorry for you, I pity for you. If the near enemy of compassion is pity, that is come from the ego. A true compassion, we have the understanding. We understanding the person's situation, the person's suffering, how the person see things, how the person's the situation. Because come from our own experience, the more we understand our own suffering, then we become more compassionate. We understand the suffering of others. So the only way we can deal with people that is ignorant, negative, and have bad karma, we have compassion. Because we can understand through the understanding of the suffering of the other person. Because if someone negative, it's lots of suffering. Because when you have negative emotion, it's very draining. You feel very tired, and it's very unpleasant. So that person is suffer. If you can see that person is suffer, then you have compassion. You deal with the compassion with the person, and not try to change the person, but have compassion towards that person. So the question 2 is, if I have tried my best practicing the path, but it's still not free of negative state of mind at the end of this life, will I still get a good rebirth? Oh, I'm not the Buddha. I can't guarantee you. And because sometimes this is the worry. When we worry something in the future, that is the negativity towards the future. So sometimes that is rather than we worry about what things might and might not happen, so we make the most of it now. We practice now, because because now it's just like a perpuncture. It's just like a speculation. You see, we don't know, isn't it? Rather than we spend all our time, project what is going to happen, worrying and what about the future, what is going to happen. So we bring our mind back to this moment. If we be able to live in this moment by moment, take one day at a time. So one day at a time. So this moment. So we don't know what is going to happen in the future. So if we be able to live in this moment, and only one moment we have no negativities, then we create the next moment. So then it's easier. Because sometimes when, it's the same thing. Like, for example, like myself, also very busy. I have lots of things to do. Sometimes it's not how much work that you do that is really matter. Sometimes because we're thinking about it, that is the problem. There's lots of, because the moment you think, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do that. And then you spend half a day thinking about you're going to do, and then you haven't started to do anything yet. One thing at a time, you start to do, we prioritize what is more important. So we take one thing at a time. So we don't project into the future, what happened if I still not free of negativities, end of this life. So because it's just project, and then we spend our energy, wasting our time and energy, isn't it? And worry about the future. This moment is important. Never underestimate the power of now. So living in the moment, present moment awareness. We live from moment to moment. This moment, even only if we have only one moment of positiveness, so you create the next positive moment, isn't it? So then the next and the next. So when you look at like that, it's doable, isn't it? But you look at this, lifelong, then you think that it's very difficult. So you break it down one day at a time. This moment, one moment at a time, one moment of positiveness. So you create the next positive moment. So the next positive moment, you create the next and the next and the next. It's just like the water, each drops, drop by drop. Eventually, it will fill the whole bucket. So there is not to worry too much, about our future. So now is important. Live in the moment. Question 3. John from Balcata. Could you kindly explain briefly how to believe in yourself, especially when you have been laid off from work several times? How to overcome the anger over who sacked you? Thanks. Yes, being sacked is not a good thing, isn't it? It's very upset, isn't it? Yeah, and actually it's belief in ourselves. Actually, this have to come. Is a very because this is a whole path of practice. You see, so if we want the first thing that we want to believe in ourselves, the first thing that we have to trust ourselves. So the trust is important. So when we trust ourselves, then we'll be able to really believe ourselves. But of course, it's not easy. So, and it's especially, like a lot of people just always come to me. They want me to give them the, straightforward answer, and give them like a recipe, okay, I give you the answer, okay, you do that, okay, you solve your problem. I can't solve your problem, If I can do that, if I can give you the secret recipe, I got enlightened long ago. So actually, you have to take up the whole path of practice. So the first thing, actually, with the morality. The morality is the foundation of a peaceful mind. Without the morality, it's very difficult. A lot of people come to Buddhism, they think that they just meditate. You can't. You got to have the supported by the morality. When you have strengthened your, you have to remove the causal level of defilements first, purify our bodily action and speech. Then you have a peaceful mind. So when we have a peaceful mind, then we've developed this wisdom, and this is a whole path of practice. And this anger, you can do loving kindness meditation to help to overcome the anger, but you still have to to keep the precept, to be to have the morality to support, because a lot of people think that they just sit on the cushions of may I be well, may I be happy, and then they try to use loving kindness to get rid of the anger, and it doesn't work that way. The loving kindness is like I remember someone tell me that sometimes if you do loving kindness, it's just like putting honey over the sheet. May I be well, may I be happy, and they still, the more they do it, the more angry they feel. It's true, because they try to use it as a technique to suppress the emotion, and it doesn't work. Because when you keep the precept, because the precept, if you live a virtuous life, because the 5 precepts is all rooted in the first one, non-harming, non-violent, including ourselves, not harming ourselves and others. So when we keep that well, we are naturally kind. We naturally have the loving kindness and compassion. When we have that helps us to weaken our anger. Then with that, based on that, and we can practice loving kindness meditation. That is help. Loving kindness meditation is based on the understanding that we sincerely wish ourselves well. So we look at our own loveliness, the whatever good that we have done, the good qualities in ourselves, then we just consciously bring that up. We reflect on our own goodness. If you can't find anything good about yourself, it's fine. You still can wish yourself well, isn't it? Send yourself good wishes. May I be well, may I be happy. Sincerely wish yourself well. That is true loving kindness. Because you say, okay, if you are good, I love you. You are no good, I don't love you. So true loving kindness is unconditioned. So send loving kindness, practice loving kindness towards ourselves. It's one of the ways to overcome, that anger. And also can send loving kindness towards the person, like the person who said you, Then you have loving kindness. Because sometimes that we have to look at that person, that they have their own, sometimes like because that person said you, that because he also have his own reason why he do so, isn't it? Because it's easy for us to complain about the other person, but the other person also have his own, suffering too, Sometimes he got to make decision. So if the person don't sack you, maybe he has to be the hierarchy will sack him, So sometimes we have kindness, compassion towards ourselves and to others, and this is not like we can just overcome this, overnight. It's really this, especially this part of practice. The Buddha said, this is a training the mind. So training the mind is just like the bodybuilder. You build the body, It's not happen overnight. So you have to keep practicing. Then only you can overcome. You cannot do it overnight. Like the bodybuilder, you cannot say, I go to the gym, for one day, I stop one day, 3 days, and I do it again one day, and I stop 3 days, The muscle will never build up. The mental muscle is the same. We have to keep practicing. So we keeping the precept. So daily life, day to day, mindfulness, living in the moment, try to pay attention to our everyday, in our daily life, whatever we do. So we try to pay attention, moment to moment awareness, and that to develop the mindfulness. Then that we carry over to this sitting, when we sit to the mind to practice this samadhi, this focus, the mind, the focus of the mind, the concentration. So when we have a strong mindfulness, then there is help, because this mindfulness and stillness, they go hand in hand together. It support that. then it's important. Then we have to practice meditation. So, and everyday life and day to day, everyday daily mindfulness, sitting in meditation, keeping the precepts. That is the whole path of practice. This training, we have to take up the whole path of practice. We cannot only choose one. We cannot set only a practice meditation. If you don't keep the precept, it doesn't work. So it's just like you're making a cake. We cannot set that only put flour to bake a cake. You can't, isn't it? So the same thing. So it will not happen overnight. So it takes a long time. So I hope that is answer this person's questions. Any more questions or comments?
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, Ajahn Hasapanna, the suffering, in Buddhism, which we read, we hear and talk about, it's actually our feelings, isn't it? The feeling brought about from our mind, the five aggregates. Isn't it? What do you think? It's the feeling.
Because it's not, actually the suffering is come from, the feeling itself is not a problem. Whatever we experience is not a problem. The holding on, the clinging on to the object, that is the problem. Like I always like to tell people this one of the Theragatas. I really like this one of the enlightened monks, because when I read this, it really struck me so hard. And I mentioned it quite a few times, so I mention again. And this monk, he's an enlightened monk, so he wrote a gatha, when he's got enlightened. So he used to practice this Asubha practice. So contemplations of the foulness of the body. So as usual, this monk went to the charnel grounds to contemplate do this Asubha practice, the contemplations of this foulness. Then in front of him there was a female corpse, and it started to really quite bad, like bloated, and it's really smelly. And he was doing that contemplation. So, and while he was doing the contemplation, he has this last arouse in him. And that moment he was really disgusted that how come, this body is really disgusting and I have lust aroused in me. And that moment actually he got enlightened, because he realized that it's not the female body is a problem. It's what arising in his mind and the holding on. Because if you leave it alone, you'll be able to just let it arising and pass away. Then it's easy, just observe the arising and the passing away of all the feelings. It's just the feelings. The feelings come and go. But the suffering is come from the holding on. That we make it to be me and mine. We try to own the feelings. That's the suffering. You got what I mean?
Sorry, just a discussion, okay? Yeah. But don't you think it's the feeling, the bad feeling or the negative? That's the suffering. That's what I think. Sorry, I might be wrong. It's just a discussion.
The suffering is come from the holding on. Like for example, if you have the right understanding, you know that this thing come and go, it will not bother you. It's just feelings. It's just feeling, because it's come and go. So that's why the Buddha said we have this distorted view. We take it to be something solid. Yeah. We make it solid.
But for a normal person who doesn't know all this,
yes.
So that is that suffering, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Because they make it to be me and mine. They try to make it solid.
Yeah, it's the feeling then, isn't it? For a normal person.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When we don't see things as they really are, it's a suffering. Even It's just like non-self is not that there's nothing there. It's just like the Buddha said, you can't say there is nothing because the arising can be seen. And you cannot say there is something. The ending of thing can be seen. So it's neither here or there, you know what I mean? But because we make it to be something, solid, that is the suffering, that is the clinging, holding on, that is the cause of the suffering. Okay.
Anyway, thank you.
Okay. Yes, any more questions or comments? So no, then we can just, okay. Thank you. Arahang sama sambuddho bhagava buddhang bhagavantam abhivadami swakado bhagavata dhammo dhammang namasami supatipano bhagava